figure out. Okay. Okay, now this says this meeting is being live streamed. Okay.
I just started the recording while we have a minute or two so that I'm not rushing to do it later.
Okay. Wonderful. Righty. Okay. So, shall we get together?
Yeah, let's tune in.
Okay, here we go. Palms together. Breathe. And inhale. Om.
Namo.
Good. Namo. Om. Gurudev.
Om Namo Buddhaya
Breathe. Good. Okay. Now, as I believe, as you know, I was gone for a few days.
Yeah, how did it go?
It was amazing.
Mm.
It was my family. It was a reunion and had 7 kids and 10 people, adults. It was great. They were
Wow.
wonderful people. And I'm
Summer
so
solstice?
grateful. Yes, at
Oh,
that
wow.
time. Hmm.
Wow.
And there was no crying, no fighting. It was amazing. That was extraordinary to me. Okay, so now what you're going to see is might be a little bit strange, okay? Because it's not about my aphasia, in other words, the problems of my talking, okay? So when you're going to do this, you're going to keep to listen and stay meditative with heart breath. Okay, can you do all of that?
Yes.
Okay, and because we know that it's going to be one time through that, and then continue with still with meditation and do it again. Okay, and so then that will be, you'll see about that. Okay. And then you'll see about, wait a minute, because we're going to see the dynamite diamond. And then after that, we'll see CNR. Okay. So Please continue. Japa Saraswati.
I want to make it bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Good.
Tune in, my dear light workers. For several days or weeks, when I would hear these deep ideas over and over again from my voice as Soul and Baba City Chand have given me about these feelings or knowing to teach all of us to understand what is going to happen. Of course, we know about the third dimension. We all know that from everyday self, EDS. That is part of the being of you that is actually moving away from your whole world, both from planet Earth as well as from our whole universe, although there are more universes. Can you believe that the whole aspects of awareness, of consciousness, whether you and I are actually from a pure dream, from what may be called God, or the exhaust or exhale of the creative knowing, because that is what we are calling the apparition of all that is, as well as no thing. With the inhale of God as the pure presence, that is like static movement. So that means that there is nothing, which reminds you, as consciousness, with so many other quirks of changeable beliefs. In fact, we are simply be. For instance, humans require only carve away from what all what is as as well as not. So when you are only expanding from your senses, that creates sculpts you slash God, thingy as you. That is what you actually believe from your ingredients, such as matter, forces, energies, light, awareness, with everlasting, eternal, infinite, beyond, and actually simple 1 point, or as actually no stuff, or many other ways to formulate or crash or more. That's because of all that are finite words of names. Now, how can you let go of all of those names and concepts, including scientific and metaphysical stuff? Instead, just be. That is finally you as God. How can you expand beyond your knowing to be nothing so that infinity moves from slash with all nothing? Got it? Just percolate from your cranium, dissolve from your ego, no relationship consciousness, bones by floating away. There you go. And like a caterpillar makes such a crystal cocoon that can mush all of those different ingredients and let go from your supreme being to let be, to reconstitute your loving thingy. That is the Aquarian shift with evolution from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. Okay, so then Aagia Pal will lead us for 1 minute of
No, not yet. I'm sorry. So then to continue, do that again and stay with meditation as you do that. Like listen,
sorry,
okay?
you want me to read it again?
Yes, please.
Okay. I was thinking that.
Okay. Just feel it. Feel it
Okay.
and listen, as well as meditate.
All right. My dear light workers, for several days or weeks, when I would hear these deep voices over and over again from my voice, as Soul and Baba City Chand have given me about these feelings or knowing to teach all of us to understand what is going to happen. Of course, we know about the third dimension. We all know that from everyday self. That is the part of the being of you that is actually moving away from your whole world, both from planet Earth as well as from our whole universe, although there are more universes. Can you believe that the whole aspects of awareness of consciousness, whether you and I are actually a pure dream from what may be called God, or the exhaust or exhale of the creative knowing, because that is what we are calling the apparition of all that is, as well as no thing. With the inhale of God as the pure presence, that is like static movement. So that means that there is nothing, which reminds you as consciousness with so many other quirks of changeable beliefs. In fact, we are simply be. For instance, humans require only carve away from us what what is, as well as not. So then you are only expanding from your senses. That creates slash sculpts you slash God, thingy as you. That is what you actually believe from your ingredients, such as matter, forces, energy, light, awareness, with everlasting, eternal, infinite, beyond, and actually simple, one point, or as actually no stuff, or many other ways to formulate or crash or more. That's because all of that are infinite words of names. Now, how can you let go of all of those names and concepts, including scientific and metaphysical stuff? Instead, just be. That is finally you as God. How can you expand beyond your knowing to be nothing so that infinity moves from slash with all nothing? Got it? Just percolate from your cranium, dissolve from your ego, no relationship, consciousness bones by floating away. There you go. And just like a caterpillar makes such a crystal cocoon that can mush all of these different ingredients and then let go from your supreme being to let be, to reconstitute your loving thingy. That is the Aquarian shift, changing with evolution from the third dimension to the fifth dimension.
Okay. So just continue being present from meditation for a little moment. Breathe. And now, Aagia Pal, go ahead.
Would you like me to read this
Now
meditation?
let her continue. Just do it this time.
Okay.
So everyone will do 1 minute of heart pumping.
Okay.
Inhale deeply and begin. Keep up powerful breath of fire. And inhale and exhale. And begin 1 minute of heart breath, listening from your voice to decide who or what will move toward your Heelys meditation. And begin. And continue with heart breath. Feel your strong third eye energies. Focus them and see a direct light beam to your Healy for 3 minutes and begin. And inhale. Beautiful. And exhale. And we'll continue with Siri Gian, leading us with CNR.
But please move the, there we go. Okay. And now, Japa Saraswati, can you say those?
Sure. 5 minutes of consciousness, no reality, which is strong heart breath, which is belly breath, nose inhalation 6 seconds, nose exhalation 6 seconds from out of your heart center. Slide from fear. Let go of any of your nasty, difficult old stuff. No reality, no thinking, no everyday self. Only feel, just be light. Then 2 minutes to become awareness and understand what happened from everyday self. Use your notes. Listen and share. Lots of love, Siri Gian.
And begin. Inhale. Exhale. And continue to listen. Inhale. Exhale. And breathe. Aagia Pal, are you okay? Can you go continuing?
Okay. Yeah. I think the most important thing for me and from all of this was this feeling of calm that has come over me. And yeah, and the racing thoughts and um what I do to myself always is just now it just calmed. It's slowed down. So I feel kind of almost lethargic. I just slowed right down. And and the Healy came um uh I sent uh my third eye energies to myself when I was just graduating from college and felt the weight of the world on my shoulders and thought it was my responsibility to take care of people and et cetera and so forth. And the Healy, it was just like shame and blame. And I felt that, you know, what, what was going on was a letting go of a belief system, um, that I had forever, and the letting go is not easy. It's not easy at all. Um, and it was, I felt a little bit like, um, like adhesive tape being pulled off of my skin. The letting go was tough. And so it started, the letting go, and the healing is happening, and I'm okay with it. Listening, I'm outside, I'm listening to the birds, I'm feeling the wind, feeling the trees and the roots. And so the calming, the slowing down, and then the reminder from when I was just recently just standing under the shower and feeling the water and feeling it as a blessing and feeling, as we know, water carries memory. And what I felt where I went there was to feel that the water brought me back to inner earth, the beings of the inner earth, and the water was a carrier. And and I could only hold on to that feeling for a few moments, but it was really important and really significant feeling to be carried by the water into the inner earth beings. So everything, all of this, just to say that there's within a major opening for me and a calmness, and it feels like air is filling up the space where all these, thingies, all these thoughts, all these emotions, etc., have been. And so it's not feeling empty. It just feels like sacred space now. So, and there's a lot of gratitude that's coming up with that. And that's it.
That's it. That's everything. And that's nothing. That's great.
Right, right, exactly.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Be and nothing.
Right.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now, Gian Dasprem.
Satnam, y'all.
Hi, y'all.
Boy, what a week, huh? What's from last Wednesday to this Wednesday, right?
Great.
Myself personally, and for the people around me, I was able to. I'm in a fairly new community. Well, it's taken me a few years to get comfortable here, totally, and I was able to do a 3-day called the Soul Spa celebration, and it was just so beautiful how we were able to go through so many practices. Dancing with grief. We did a puja ceremony. We practiced Reiki. We did, Qigong, sang and danced together. I was able to catch an apparition through my camera, which I didn't notice until days later after Source told me to do this. And I know that it's all about this communication between us, right? That we're doing as we're here on Wednesdays, and we're gathering and we're beaming just this freedom, I believe. And I love listening. I'm so glad that it was repeated twice today. What you had written down, Siri Gian, and it's just so beautiful to hear that genius come through the crosses, and it gives us the ability to have the patience and the inner peace to hold space for ourselves, and that willingness to handle the information, or just to be a channel to sort of lessen the explanation and open that channel a little bit more for this peace to come through, right? For this freedom. And I've been noticing, blocks that I may have had, and the way that the messages are coming back esoterically through the practice. And surrendering was was really big. The sacred surrender of noticing that, and now, being brought back to the practice of who's your best person, who's your worst person, and today we'll marry them together, and you'll become the offspring. So here we are today, right, all together as this human race with just these other races behind us. So we're just so joyfully and so, the number 22, it can go either way, right? So I'm looking at that, and then I'm erasing everything, right? And just coming back to that place of witnessing and noticing how the witnessing can expand through the practices that we're doing here, and through the learning of the past and the present that it's shared, right? This information, this freedom, the numbers, the science. And I was watching something with my mom last night as she was involved in the tech industry. She moved from Massachusetts to California in the 80s, and she became, she was a temp worker, but she always had a way of showing up at these certain places and managed to meet some incredible people, and to just show the commonality of where the genius comes, right? It's free, it's in the air, it's a vibration, it's what we're doing here. So for me, it was just being shown these blockages, so they can be eased. And today's meditation was so beautiful to come in and to, have that rainbow energy, and that these bubbles and all of the explanations that, from my personal experience, the stories are coming through from parts of my childhood, through reminders of meeting someone new, and the way the strings come back together in the weaving. And today the visual I was giving was of stretching and testing rope, how they'll do like a tensile strength, and then it relaxes. And I was just seeing the different types of treatments that we do to the materials that we use. We can use grass, right, to make clothing or homes, and it goes into the nature for me of being back into the flower and the water and the sun, and noticing the power of that relationship for this way today with the billions of people, and the relationships of the people of the past to the relationships of the people today, and within my life as well. The memories of dreams that I've had, and how they can be answered 50 or 60 years later through a simple communication, however that may be. So I think noticing enough to let go is also part of the key, and the sharing of the we and the me, and that sort of coming to that I am. And I was able to feel like our previous conversations, and certain people's voices, and it was just so beautiful to have that. Yeah, and so I don't have to ask who this is any longer. And for my personal inviting that channel and these ways of communications through people in our past and people that we're meeting, right, and how we're sharing through that way of the communication is the ultimate technology for me. And I just see the way of back to the birthing hill again, and it's really beautiful to see this, the way of how water rolls downhill, and so does poop, right? As a plumber, that's what they would say. So, and then it has its way of this capillary attraction through evaporation, and all these other things that we're dealing with daily, right, from the sunrise to the sunset, and that waheguru in between. Yeah. So it's just so beautiful to be a witness here with this information that we're receiving, right? However it may be, is really just for me the opening up of the joining together with all of this, and noticing the breeze and the seeds in the wind, and how the third eye can show waves of energy, and the correlation of that, whether it's water or it's birds' wings or it's debris blowing in the wind or what have you, and that part of that exhale that I'm able to bring it all in and just sort of let it out too. And yeah, and practicing the, you know, building up. So holding the breath out at the end, and holding it on the inhale, and maybe pumping the stomach, right? 6 seconds is a tenth of a minute, and then we can move our way to 6 minutes, tenth of an hour, and there's 24 hours in a day and all of that beauty. So Waheguru. Yeah, and letting that go too is okay for preparation for if, you know, that white space. For me, it started out really small. It's just something that I saw while I was conscious, and it's okay, right? Sometimes we misplace things, and that's okay. We see what we see, we are what we are, and I am okay with that. So that's for me, the thank you of being the I am, and the sharing of that, and my willingness to, you know, let go of this self, which allows me to feel that inner peace inside and the relaxation. And yeah, for me, it's back to acupressure and whatnot, because it seems to be really working. And yeah, so if we can share whatever we can with each other, and I will share the picture of the apparition, that, and it had some
Okay.
significance too. Thank you very much, you guys. I love you. Bye, good.
Thank you so much. Okay. So now, Samskara.
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
So, wow, this has been a really powerful experience. And it comes after a day, not yesterday, the day before, Juneteenth. We had a celebration, no, it's not exactly, a recognition, acknowledgement on Juneteenth, which was Saturday, this past Saturday. And I was part of I just got dragooned by the library, the Holliston, which is the next town over from Framingham. The Holliston librarian, they had a citizen in this town had set up, Holliston, had set up a reading of Frederick Douglass's speech about Juneteenth. What does 4th of July mean to the enslaved, the millions of enslaved African Americans in America? What possibly could it mean? So we had a step-by-step reading of that incredible statement, historical statement. And if you get a chance to read it, it's available on YouTube. There's some different presentations of it, but just read that text that we had it broken up into parts. And then the head of the library had each one of us go up to this podium and read to this big crowd that had assembled for the celebration of Juneteenth. So what happened to me was I had to go first. And my reading was all about what the forefathers had meant. I'm all getting to the point. I'm a meandering historical path to it. This reading, you know, there was about 20 of us and we all got a little section, and I got the part to start, which laid out all the aspirations of the founding fathers of the United States, mothers really, you know, the gal who made the flag, Betsy Ross, and all that stuff. There were a lot of women's behind the scenes, but the overt statements were from, you know, it laid out all the kind of freedoms and liberties that were being celebrated on Juneteenth, which were just devastatingly denying and ignoring and distancing from this brutal history that Douglass lays out so clearly in his what the heck does 4th of July mean to, like, all these people that are all these African Americans and US citizens really didn't have those rights. they couldn't access. They were living under, brutal, violent, torturous circumstances. So what was so powerful about that was I went up and I had to start, open up the cemetery, no ceremony. And all I could do is weep, just tears rolling down my face. I couldn't even speak, just weep. So I stood there, all these people just weeping. And for some reason, it ties very much for me to our Kundalini path, one of facing those kinds of hardships really clearly, one of dedication and devotion to freedom, liberation. So eventually I was able to speak and read the thing, and I was so ashamed stepping away from the podium in this beautiful day, but this senior lady came up to me, no, that's exactly how this had to start, with profound grief and shame for what had been done, really not BSing around the historical reality of brutality. The worst kind of violation of humans and exploitation, etc. So that was really, really important. And it ties for me to this fact that I've had what's called a TBI, traumatic brain injury. It's getting mildly better, but I'm have to go into, I was reviewed for housing in the state of, in Framingham, senior housing, and I was evaluated as disabled and not able to live on my own. So in a sense, my freedom now, my next step is going to be into senior housing that is very supervised and supported. It's a good thing. It's not a lockdown or anything, but I'm having to face the fact of my really serious limitations and not an ability to live alone and independently. So I was kind of upset about that, the loss of my freedom, which is parallels to this reading, that imprisonment in a sense, which it looked like to me. But it's going to be okay. And I'm headed in there pretty soon, probably between 30 and 60 days, because George's house is closing. I was considered in really serious need of housing that was not just, okay, here's your apartment, in a facility that's right. It's actually in Advocates. Advocates has its own facility with people which is what this Teddy Kennedy's baby. Advocates is the incredible mental health support for everybody in the state, and it's unbelievably good. So I've tried treatments, EMDR, all sorts of stuff, but I'm still impaired, so that sometimes I get lost. Sometimes I forget to take my meds. Also, leave the fire on the stove and almost set the kitchen on fire. All sorts of memory lapses. Sometimes I don't even know where I am, etc. So I can actually mass ability will help me work part-time, so I can continue fine gardening, because that I seem to be able to do. I doubt I could pull off a teaching job. And then live in a housing, advocates housing for people with disabilities, especially their memory loss unit. So this is a big deal, a big change. And it's so interesting to me. I wanted so much to go to solstice. I rarely miss a solstice, but because of all the stuff that's going on, and then I have to be here to sign paperwork and then to do all sorts of interviews and all that. So I really couldn't leave. And it was this event, just a humble community gathering run by a small library, honoring, really facing the truth of what our history as a nation is, and acknowledging. It was very interesting because then two young ministers from the Black church, which is really growing in the Boston area. There's been some migrations up here. It was not really a big African American presence, except in ghettos here. Roxbury is a famous one. So the growing presence of the Black community in the minority community, the Mexicans, were a prime spot for people fleeing Mexico, crossing the border and coming here because there's so much work, the real labor shortage. So what am I trying to say here is that it's been like a kind of a tantric, which for me, even though I really miss being in New Mexico, there was no way I could go, and it's been a kind of its own tantric spiritual awakening process, and that's so here. And whoever dreamed that this would happen? It's just like, wow, what a celebration of Juneteenth and the truth of oppression and exploitation and devastation that is actually healing. And I guess that's what tantric has always been for me. I love solstice. I love the gathering of the tribe. And I love working at solstices and getting there early and helping set up and staying late and cleaning up. So, and I've spent a lot of time with Siri Gian at solstices. And it's such a gift. So I guess tantric, there's so many forms of tantric out there for us. Who dreamed that this community ritual reading of a critical historical document could really bring about change, and remember how important remembrance and identity and gathering is, like tantric, like for our community. So I hope I'm making sense. I pass.
Beautiful.
Okay. Thank you, dear.
Thank you, Siri Gian.
Really,
Thank
yes,
you.
I really appreciate that. Okay. So now, Japa Saraswati.
But
Japa
I loved the message from Siri Gian. I really loved the message. Um, and during the meditation, what I kept coming up on was the faces of my own ego. And in so many ways, like on the more superficial level, the ego that's like pride, the ego that's a little bit bruised, the ego that's a little bit like uh pompous or whatever, the ego that's like just a little bit, I remember say the ego that's a little bit of a motherfucker is what I had said to a friend once upon a time. And then
Girl.
underneath that, I felt the ego that was really the ego that was protecting myself, like the ego that is everyday self, the ego that has to get that has to get our daily life done, the ego that has to put gas in the car, the ego that really has to carry around the vehicle of our body. Um, and um, and what I felt was to love and protect everyday self. Don't beat up everyday self for being or expressing itself. Like, I'm wearing this most fabulous dress today because I love going to the thrift stores, and I got this amazing blue and white striped dress that just looks so perfectly French. It's like it's amazing.
Yeah.
And and I and it's not like it's an important thing to be able to um I guess what I feel is the way that I've always really enjoyed expressing myself through clothing, but that because I'm wearing a little French dress does not make me French, it's just like a little summer jupe, but that's what I meant about don't beat up everyday self for being itself or for expressing itself. Like everyday self is allowed to have a fun costume, everyday self is allowed to have an expression. And oh, so this was coming to the part of the message, Siri Gian, where um about the maginal cells, about the caterpillar becoming the butterfly in the chrysalis.
Mhm.
And what I felt was like everyday self sort of melting and becoming a soup. And I feel like it was, the bigger part of some part of my mind saying, like, squish down everyday self, squish down all of those ego parts, and that's why I said don't beat up everyday self, and also really celebrate it for being able to be creative and being able to be part of it. And what I saw of it was that it was samskara. So samskara is it's impressions from our past lives, and it's both good things and bad things. It's made up by karmas. But I remember being at this party in Florida, and everybody around me was gay and in a couple together, so I was at this party, and they were all talking about this other guy that I didn't know, who was I think a drag queen, had like a really really big flamboyant personality, and they were saying how much they that everybody loved them, but they just had this huge over the top personality. And there I am, and I just said, "Oh, well, it's from his past lives, And everybody looked at me, and I could just feel it. I could just feel that it was this person's past lives being so strongly present in their current life, that like they just had this way over the top personality. And sometimes I feel like that myself, that I just have a bit of a big personality, and everybody sort of gasped when I said it. But the samskara is both positive and negative, and it has two meanings. So and they overlap a bit. The other sense of samskara is in Hinduism. There's 16 samskaras that make up, what do you call them? Milestones, that make up the milestones of our lives. And it feels to me that there's the overlap in that they are these places where, the places where we're deeply impressed, the places where, um, even if it's our ego, we have to act out in it. And so what I felt was about the tapas, or like in the maginal cells, what I felt in the consciousness no reality, I felt myself just sort of melting into, it felt like a chowder of samskaras and getting mixed up, and like I felt even the ego part of myself wishing that the ego part of myself would get knocked down a little bit, which is just amazing to think about, And the real message that I got from Baba is that we're going to continue to be doing this, melting down into the soup business, that's happening. It's not just once or twice that it's happening. It's that it's a river of consciousness that we constantly have availability to dip into, and that we can use that more and more to dip into it, and to be, um, in that place of mushiness, in that place of flexibility. And that place of flexibility is really, I felt like it's youth giving, like, because it is flexibility is what babies are. Flexibility is what we are. Um, and not that it's not the samskaras. So what I felt is that the samskaras, what he showed me was, to eat light and low animal fat and low sugar, to help and to generally he also showed me about good lifestyle habits like get enough sleep, not just get enough sleep, like was it last week or the week before we had some solar storms, and I didn't realize that that's why it was, but I was like so sleepy in the afternoons like a couple of days in a row, and I'm not the biggest of nappers, you know what I mean? Like that's not really on my to-do list all the time, but I felt like I absolutely had to lay down. Like I felt like I was going to feel sick if I didn't take it easy or take a rest or what have you. And that's kind of part of it that he showed me was rest well, eat well, drink well, like lots of water, like don't pollute yourself with a lot of high sugar, high caffeine, you know, like alcohol, like yeah, just a lot of like basically don't be so indulgent because of this that river of consciousness where we can really tap into the marginal cells, that experience is going to be so much more free flowing and easy and a much better, like we can juice the experience much better by being well primed, by being well rested and well nourished and well hydrated through that process, because it's not just once or twice. It's like we should be going and can be going into that place often and all the time, and that there's, how do I say it? I feel that there's an opening at least from now, at least through the end of the summer. I don't even know how much longer it's going to be, but that like we have a big opening for a lot of work with this energy right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
What?
G.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like, when you go through military, you have to go through those, what are they called?
Boot camp.
Boot camp.
That's it, boot camp. Yeah,
You're at your boot camp.
that's right. And letting go. There we go. And as you do that, are you finding that you are, for the sacred space? In other words, to be knowing what is happening more and more. For me, I understand for more, not strength, yes, but it is through the whole body and the whole
Yeah.
business.
You know where I feel holding of the sacred space? I've been feeling it in my low back, in the small of my back. I've been doing a bunch of like if you do a seated forward fold, and you can, it depends on where you're feeling it, you know, but like I have been then just working so much in my lower back and feeling that sacred space in between my vertebrae. I've been working specifically with that, with holding space there.
Mhm. How interesting. Well,
Yeah.
because the space goes through chakras, as
Hmm.
we know, up through the Kundalini.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very important. Mhm.
Yeah. Somebody famous said, had this really wonderful quote about you, that you are as young as your spine is flexible. And
Mhm.
when I like, the cat that I have, he came from the street. And so I brought him to the vet and they told me he was whatever, however old he said. And I said, no, he's much younger than that because his spine is really flexible. And he was just like a bit of a noodle cat, when they're little kittens, they're noodly. And I've been teaching a lot of yoga lately, which is great. Um,
Mhm.
and I've been really trying to think and point out doing spinal flexibility, but then I've been attending a couple of different yoga classes like for my practice, and I've been doing a couple of different things to really stretch out the lower spine, the lumbar spine. And I'm amazed because I didn't know that I feel that I've had compression there in the last maybe like 4 or 5 years, probably from sitting down more since the pandemic happened. And since just getting older, the last 4 years, I've been more sedentary than the previous the 4 years before that, I would say.
Mhm.
And as what I'm finding is that I've really been actively holding space for bringing flexibility to the low part of my spine, but I'm just loving finding that movement, like I encourage everybody for doing cat cow, or what do they call it in Kundalini?
Cat and cow.
Yeah, cat and cow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, good.
Mhm. Well, that's great. Oh, and I was thinking also for South Korea. Remember
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Korea?
Mm,
Yes.
Yeah, from the Kundalini, from the base and going all the way up to the
Mm-hmm.
through the head to the top.
mm.
Yeah,
Yes.
9D.
yeah.
Yesterday in class, I also had people doing, I think you'll call it Sufi grind. And
Yep.
I like to start the class off with that, with the eyes closed, so that people can wake up their central channel and start to move into their energy field, into their energetic field. And I just love that, like circling around the spine. I just love it.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Good. Okay. So, so if you want to use about that listening that we're talking about, uh, you can come back to that over and over till you understand
Mm,
when you let go of ego and then becoming that mush soup,
hmm
becoming who you really are, because
Mm.
that's what's happening. Oh, yeah. And also, uh, yesterday and last night, um, I kept seeing patches of yellow. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, is that because of my macular degeneration? But I think that is what is happening for the energy, because
Mm,
mm,
colors are energy. And then also I could see these uh, like donuts or O's.
uh-huh.
And finally I realized that might be about uh, universe.
Ooh,
Chips.
Yeah.
mm.
yeah.
And and then there was another thing. I think it was another symbol. So I'm going to just watch to see what happens. Okay, good.
I was gonna say, I don't know, I've wanted to say this, I wanted to say it before, but so I stopped working at the old folks home, but when I was working at the old folks home, especially like it was growing and growing the last, I would say 3 months, it was a tremendous amount that I was seeing things constantly, like absolutely constantly. And I think that it may have been the ghosts of the so many people who died there. Um, and but like I was seeing things absolutely constantly. And since I stopped working there, it has calmed down a lot, but it made me aware of the how close the other side is. Like it
Mhm.
was, I mean, it was constant. I realized that it's been, like a couple weeks since I stopped working there, and it's been a couple weeks since I've been constantly seeing those things. But it's like you were saying, Siri Gian, I would see like colors or see shapes, like repeating shapes. Like, I mean, I can't, I, it was growing and growing. And I thought about saying it to this group because I kind of didn't know if it was part of ascension or if it was um, part of the Aquarian transition. But
Mhm.
I can also support that I don't, I wonder what these things are too, Siri Gian.
Yes, so for me, just watch it.
Mm.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Because see what happens and
Hmm.
just be there. Just be. Remember about
Mm.
no reality?
Hmm.
I think that's what's happening more and more.
Mm.
Okay,
Can I share something?
sure.
Yeah.
It's about, so with the soups and the stew and bathing.
Hmm.
So if we bathe in chakra bubbles in our bath, it will open up us to any path. With kindness and careness, we can walk through any wrath. Waheguru. Waheguru.
Okay, I want
Waheguru.
do it again. I'm sorry. Do it again.
Mm. So I have a lot of scribbles, and I kind of went off on that one. So if it's like the stew or a soup, and no, I'm seeing like sort of a sound bath, or how we do this every week. We're bathing in it. So
Hmm.
bathing with chakra bubbles in our bath will help us to open any path,
I
giving
love
us
that. Hmm.
giving us strength to walk through any wrath.
There you
Waheguru,
go. Hmm.
Waheguru.
Wonderful. Good. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for this opportunity, Waheguru, where you're all such so beautiful. It's amazing. Thank you.
Yes.
I hope.
Oh, and I went with an amazing healer, and she was on 3 hours for me. Oh my God. And
Wow.
yeah, so she can see things about my emotion and energies and anatomy. And so the the biggest part of that was, first of all, my snake is my totem. Okay, so first of all, I saw this cute little baby gorilla. Okay,
Oh,
yes,
oh,
and and then was around there like a nest from a pair of high, high, that's a, what do you call that? It's a neck? No, a snake?
oh,
Python.
Python.
Oh, a python.
Yes, And it's all through there about at least 5 rings, two rings of that,
Uh-huh.
kind of like little children have those blown up water pools. And they were, and the baby was so sweet and was loved, and the python also was pure love, and at the also was how do you say, ferocious, as well as pure loving. And then the little baby would go down through the nest into the Caribbean Sea, and there you would see beautiful thingies, octopus and whatever, and then come out because it was so many different blue. And that was it.
Wow.
Isn't that fun? Oh,
Yeah.
because it was about primates. And my feeling is that letting go of primates, that part of us, is letting go with pure loving. Oh, and the python was actually from Adi Shakti, and for Hindu is about the primal energy, primal, what we would call God as a source.
And female.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So there it is.
Wow.
Okay. So it's, and I pray that my talking works better. That's what it was. Yeah. Okay. So now, Aagia Pal,
Yes.
would you like to lead the song?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I just want to, say that I'm very grateful. This is a lovely session, and grateful to everybody. And so, and I really don't want to leave this session, but anyway, I know we have to close.
Well, is there something else you want to talk about?
No, too many words, right? It's just that feeling of being with everyone, It's
There
just,
you go.
so there's nothing else I can really talk about. It's just the feeling of being with such searching, real, loving beings as you guys all are. It's like I want to escape to this and escape out of the morass of the world to the and I always look forward to it because it is a wonderful time out and gives me hope, gives me, light and direction. And you mentioned about the yellow light. Well, my favorite stone is yellow sapphire. And I was looking at my I was looking at it in the light while as you were talking about it. And yellow sapphire, it reveals everything, the
Really?
good and the not so good. So you mentioned that both sides of um the um the snake, the loving, but also the ferocious. So there's both sides to it. and of course we're a free will, the universe is a free will place, right? So if I allow and say yes to the loving side, and that's what I want to do of this python, um, then I feel that that's where I'm going right now, is down that loving path with the python
That's
and
right.
the yellow sapphire. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
okay. So thank you for
Wait,
listening.
wait. How about a ferocious loving? How about that?
Yes.
Oh,
Deep forgiveness.
yes.
Deep, deep, deep.
Deep
Mhm.
forgiveness and ferocious loving. Ooh,
Yeah.
Thank you for
ooh,
your voice. Thank you for your voice, Aagia Pal. I hear you.
ooh.
Wonderful.
Okay. All right. So let's boo-hoo. Let's close up. Okay. I'm gonna rub our hands, palms together. Do deep breaths. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And let's inhale to begin. May the
May
long time
the
sun
sun upon you.
all
All love surround you. And God
you
pure light within you.
guide
Guide your way on. Guide your way on.
on your way on.
Inhale. Down. And I want to tell you about two people who have the healers. One is Atma, and she is how do you say, made a better me, and the other one is about Satli Shan, and she, from 2 days ago, surgery for rotator cuff. Okay,
Ouch.
so
Mhm.
yeah, so so um, oh, maybe 2 minutes for ferocious loving healing.
Yes.
Okay, and begin.
Mhm.
And inhale. And exhale. And continue with our breath. And God bless all of us. And with anybody who is with that, please be with us. Thank you.
My good.
Amen. Waheguru.
Okay.
Waheguru.
Love you all.
Love you. Love you. Love you. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Satnam, everybody.